Hello, welcome to the Chirp YouTube channel. I am Christy, your friendly online speech language pathologist and specialist in children's communication development, including behavior, because behavior is a type of communication. Today is another SLP, speech language pathologist, quick tip, and we'll be talking about following the child's lead. My quick tips I'm interspersing in between a longer series that I'm doing on the pyramid model, which you can find right there. Also a very, very helpful series for preventing and managing challenging behavior. But in the meantime, I want to sprinkle in some of these shorter videos for those of you who might wish to learn something that you can immediately put into action. Okay, what does it mean to follow the child's lead? Does that mean just doing whatever the child wants? No, it does not. Following the child's lead is going to begin with some time that you have set aside for this child. This is the time when you're going to be working on your relationship, including social skills, and on the child's communication skills, which includes every kind of language goal that you can think of. We're not coming at this necessarily with goals in mind. We're coming at this with building connection and creating shared joy in the world so that we have something in common to communicate about. If we don't have something in common to communicate about, what is the point of communicating? So we have to pay attention to what our child is paying attention to. The first thing, get on the floor with your child. Don't make your child sit at a table. Don't try to force your child into any particular position. Do what your child is doing. If your child is sitting on the floor, sit on the floor. It's good for us as well as adults to be able to get down on the floor and get back up. It's very good for our physical health. Okay, if your child is standing up and walking around, stand up and walk around. The goal is to imitate what your child is doing at this point. The next step is going to be watch. Watch what your child is watching. Is your child interested with her fingers? Is your child watching his shadow on the wall? Is your child driving a car? What is your child doing, or your student? I also should take a moment here to mention that the best kind of teaching is teaching that happens in relationship and teaching that is based on interaction. The best kind of teaching is not flashcards or having our child answer yes/no questions. The best kind of teaching is play-based and interactive, relational. Therefore, if you are working in a classroom, if you're working in a clinic, please try to make your interactions with the child playful and fun and relational, rather than you being the boss of everything. Make yourself a play partner. Make yourself an interaction buddy rather than the boss who bosses the child around all the time. That's not very fun, and it's not going to pull out the best skills that the child has. I will put some more information about that down below. And of course, tons of resources that will help you feel a lot more equipped. So never hesitate to go down into the box below the video. Okay, back to our next step. You have imitated the child, sat on the floor. You have watched what the child is interested in. Now, what you're going to do is you're going to imitate what the child is doing. If the child is watching her fingers, you're going to watch your fingers. If the child is watching a shadow on the wall, you're going to watch the shadow on the wall. If the child is driving a car back and forth, you're going to drive a car back and forth. You're going to do it close to the child, but you're going to do the same thing. And then our next step is that you are going to comment on what's happening. For example, if the child is moving her fingers, you move your fingers and say, "Ooh, pretty, wiggle, wiggle." Maybe you sing a little song. Maybe you just comment on how pretty it is. Maybe you say hello, goodbye, hello, goodbye. This is where some creativity comes into place because this is play. We are having fun. We're building a relationship with the child, and we're building it on something we both are enjoying, or at least pretending to enjoy. You do not have to enjoy it as much as the child enjoys it, but you do need to enjoy the fact that you are building a nice foundation for a solid relationship. And relationships are where communication starts. If your child is watching a shadow on the wall, you might make a shadow. You might watch it and say, I see a lion. I see a car. And comment on what you think you see. Use very simple language. If your child, we're going to repeat this rule again. If your child is only using one word, you're not allowed to use more than two. If your child is using 2 words, you're not allowed to use more than 3. +1 talking is what we call that. So keep your language very simple. We're not trying to pull anything out of the child. We're simply commenting on what we see. And commenting can also be a sound effect. I use lots of sound effects because they pull kids in. We all find a sound effect fascinating. And also, you can sing songs because kids find songs fascinating. There's a reason why we teach so many things to young children using music. It's because music sinks into our brain in a way that just talking doesn't. It has more power for us to remember it and to understand it and to be able to repeat it. I don't know if you knew this. I learned this in graduate school, that reproducing words while singing comes from a different place in the brain than reproducing words just talking, which means that depending on the kind of disability or delay that the child has, singing words may be easier than speaking words. So keep that in mind. Do a lot of singing. Sing all the time if you can. These are my tips. It's not very hard. It does take some time to get used to, and it does take some time, period. You cannot help your child to improve in the area of communication and social development if you are constantly running everywhere, pushing your child to put her shoes on, pushing your child to brush his teeth, getting in the car, going to everywhere all the time. Part of your child's development is indeed the job of the family. And in order to help with your child's development, you have to set aside time to interact with your child, to build a relationship, to share interests, to build this kind of web of communication interactions. So maybe that sounds like a challenge, and I think it is. I challenge you to set aside 15 minutes every day to sit on the floor with your child and follow your child's lead. Figure out what your child likes. Figure out what your child is doing right that minute. Do the same thing. Comment on it, and then share the joy of experiencing this cool thing together. That is going to pull that child into our world, and it's going to give you a glimpse into that child that you didn't have before. It is miraculous. That is my challenge to you this week. I look forward to hearing how it goes. Leave any questions or comments in the box below. And if you feel like it, you can give me a thumbs up. You could subscribe if you like. But whatever you do, come back next time to watch another video to learn more about how kids develop and how we can help them develop even better. Have a great day. Bye.